Hi, and welcome to Ginger English. I'm Sarah, and today we have an A2 level podcast for you. Today's story is about a flight attendant. Her name is Diane. She sees something strange. A young girl is sitting next to a man. The girl looks scared. Diane has a feeling something is very wrong. What does she do? Stay with me and let's find out together. This story is real. It is based on true events. It happened on a normal day. Diane is a flight attendant. She works on airplanes. She helps passengers. She brings food and drinks. She checks if everyone is safe. Diane has worked this job for 10 years. She is very good at her job. She always smiles. She is kind to everyone. But Diane has a special skill too. She can read people. She can see when something is wrong. This skill is very important. Today, it will save a life. The flight is from Los Angeles to New York. It is a long flight, 5 hours in the air. The plane is full of people, families, business people, students. Everyone has a different story. Diane walks down the row. She checks each passenger. She smiles and says hello. Then she sees them. A man and a young girl. The girl looks about 14 years old. She is sitting by the window. The man sits next to her. He is in the aisle seat. Something feels wrong to Diane. She cannot explain it at first. The girl does not look at the man. She does not talk to him. She looks down at her hands. Her hands are shaking a little. Diane stops walking. She looks more carefully. The man is older. Maybe 40 years old. He is wearing a suit. He looks normal. He looks calm, but the girl looks very afraid. Diane has seen scared passengers before. Some people are afraid of flying. This is normal, but this is different. This girl is not afraid of the plane. She is afraid of something else. Diane decides to watch them closely. She will pay attention during the whole flight. Something is telling her to be careful. Something is telling her this girl needs help. Diane walks to the front of the plane. She talks to her coworker, Maria. "Did you see seat 14C and 14D?" Diane asks quietly. Maria nods. "The girl looks scared," Maria says. "I noticed too." Both women feel the same thing. They decide to watch the situation. They cannot do anything yet. They have no proof, but they will not stop watching. Diane takes a deep breath. She knows she needs to be smart about this. Diane checks the flight time. There are still 4 hours left. 4 hours to understand the situation, 4 hours to find the truth. She walks slowly back down the aisle. She looks at seat 14C again. The girl is still looking down. The man is reading a magazine. He looks very relaxed. Too relaxed, Diane thinks. Diane decides to bring drinks to that row first. Maybe she can hear something. Maybe she can see more clues. Her heart is beating a little faster now. Diane walks down the aisle with her drink cart. She stops at row 14. "Would you like something to drink?" she asks with a friendly smile. The man looks up. "Coffee for me, please," he says. His voice is calm and polite. Too polite, Diane thinks. She turns to the girl. "And for you, sweetie?" The girl does not answer right away. She looks at the man first, then she looks at Diane. "Water, please," she says very quietly. Her voice is small, almost a whisper. Diane notices something else now. The girl looked at the man before she answered. She was checking if it was okay to speak. This is a big warning sign. Diane has read about this before. In her training, flight attendants learn about human trafficking. They learn the warning signs. A young person traveling with an adult who controls them. A young person who looks at the adult before speaking. A young person who seems afraid to talk freely. All these signs are here, right in front of Diane. Diane gives them their drinks. She tries to start a small conversation. "Are you two traveling together for vacation?" she asks the man. "Business trip." the man says quickly. She's my niece. I'm taking her to visit family. Diane nods and smiles, but something does not feel right. The girl's eyes widen for just 1 second when the man says, niece. It is a very small reaction, but Diane sees it. She has learned to notice small things. Small things often tell the real story. Diane moves to the next row. She continues her work, but her mind stays on seat 14C and 14D. She thinks about the girl's name. She does not know it yet. The man called her she and sweetie. He never said her name. This is strange. Family members usually use names. Diane decides she needs more information. She needs to find a way to talk to the girl alone. But how can she do this on a crowded airplane? The man never leaves his seat. He watches the girl closely. Diane talks to Maria again in the small kitchen area at the back of the plane. Something is very wrong, Diane says. The girl looked at him before she spoke. She seemed afraid to answer on her own. Maria agrees. We need a plan, Maria says, but we cannot just ask if she's safe. He's sitting right there. He'll hear everything. Diane thinks hard. There must be a way to talk to the girl without the man knowing. A safe way, a quiet way. Then Diane remembers something. She read an article once about a method other flight attendants used. A secret note. A simple way to ask for help without speaking out loud. Diane's eyes light up. I have an idea, she tells Maria, but I need the girl to go to the bathroom alone. I need a few minutes. Maria nods slowly. Let's wait for the right moment, she says. They both know this moment is very important. They cannot make a mistake. An hour passes. Diane keeps working, but she watches row 14 carefully. The man drinks his coffee. He reads his magazine. He looks relaxed. The girl sits very still. She does not eat her snack. She does not drink her water. She just looks out the window. Diane feels worried. Time is passing, and she still has no chance to talk to the girl alone. She knows she needs to be patient, but patience is hard when someone might be in danger. Finally, Diane sees her chance. The girl stands up slowly. I need to use the bathroom, she says quietly to the man. The man looks at his watch. Be quick, he says. His voice sounds like an order, not a request. The girl walks toward the back of the plane. Diane's heart starts beating fast. This is the moment. This is her only chance. She moves quickly but quietly, trying not to draw attention. Diane goes into the small kitchen area near the bathrooms. She grabs a piece of paper and a pen. Her hands are shaking slightly. She writes fast. The note is simple. It says, "Do you need help? If yes, go to the bathroom and write yes on this paper. Leave it under the sink. We will help you safely." Diane folds the paper carefully. She walks to the bathroom door just as the girl is about to enter. "Excuse me," Diane says softly with a warm smile. "Here's an extra tissue in case you need it." She quickly slips the folded note into the girl's hand along with a tissue. The girl looks confused for a second. Then her eyes meet Diane's eyes. Diane gives her a small, gentle nod, a nod that says, "I see you. I am here to help." The girl's face changes. For the first time, there's a tiny spark of hope in her eyes. The girl goes into the bathroom and closes the door. Diane walks away slowly, trying to act normal. Her heart is pounding. She returns to her cart and continues serving other passengers, but her mind is completely focused on that bathroom door. 1 minute passes, 2 minutes pass. Diane starts to worry. What if the girl is too scared? What if the man notices she is taking too long? Every second feels like an hour. Then the bathroom door opens. The girl walks out. She looks at Diane for just a moment. Their eyes meet again. The girl gives a very small, almost invisible nod. Diane understands. She waits until the girl returns to her seat. Then, very carefully, Diane walks to the bathroom and goes inside. She looks under the sink, just like she wrote in her note. There, on the small piece of paper, is one word, written in shaky handwriting: yes. Diane's hands begin to tremble. Her instincts were right all along. Diane holds the small piece of paper in her hand. The word yes stares back at her. For a moment, she just stands there, in the small bathroom, feeling her heart race. This is real. This is really happening. Somewhere on this airplane, a young girl is in danger, and she just asked a stranger for help. Diane takes a deep breath. She knows she cannot panic now. She needs to think clearly. She needs to act fast, but also very carefully. Diane folds the paper and puts it in her pocket. She steps out of the bathroom and walks straight to the front of the plane. She finds Maria near the galley. "She wrote yes," Diane whispers. Maria's face goes pale. "Are you sure?" she asks. Diane nods firmly. "I saw it with my own eyes. We need to tell the captain right now." Both women understand the seriousness of the moment. This is no longer just a feeling or a suspicion. This is confirmed. A young girl needs help, and they are the only people who can give it to her. Diane walks toward the cockpit. Her steps are quick but controlled. She knocks on the cockpit door using the special signal that flight attendants use for emergencies. The captain, a tall man named Robert, opens the small window first to check who it is. When he sees Diane's serious face, he opens the door immediately. "What's wrong?" he asks. Diane explains everything quickly. The scared girl, the strange behavior, the note, the word yes written under the sink. Captain Robert listens carefully. He has flown for over 20 years. He has seen many things, but this is serious. "You did the right thing," he tells Diane. "This is exactly the kind of situation we train for." He picks up the radio immediately. He needs to contact the ground. He needs to alert the authorities before the plane lands in New York. Time is critical now. They cannot let the man simply walk off the plane with the girl when they arrive. The captain speaks calmly into the radio, giving details to air traffic control. He explains that there is a possible trafficking situation on board. He gives the seat numbers. He describes the man and the girl. He explains that local police need to be ready at the gate when the plane lands. The message is sent. Now, all they can do is wait. The flight still has almost 2 hours left. 2 hours where everyone must act completely normal. 2 hours where one small mistake could ruin everything. Diane returns to the cabin. Her hands are still slightly shaking, but her face shows nothing. She has learned to hide her emotions during her years as a flight attendant. She walks past row 14 one more time. The man is sleeping now, his head against the window. The girl is awake. She looks at Diane for just a second. Diane gives her the smallest, gentlest smile. A smile that says, "Help is coming. Stay strong. You are not alone anymore." The next hour feels like the longest hour of Diane's life. She continues her work, serving drinks, picking up trash, smiling at passengers, but inside, her mind never stops thinking about Row 14. She watches the man and the girl every few minutes without making it obvious. The man wakes up from his short sleep. He checks his phone. He looks out the window. He seems completely calm, with no idea that his plans are about to fall apart. Diane thinks about the girl's life. Who is she, really? What is her name? How did she end up in this situation? Diane does not know the answers yet, but she imagines a young girl who was probably tricked or forced into this terrible situation. Maybe someone promised her a better life. Maybe someone threatened her family. There are so many sad stories like this, and Diane has read about them in her training, but reading about something is very different from seeing it happen right in front of you. Maria comes to find Diane in the back of the plane. The captain just got a message from the ground, Maria whispers. Police will be waiting at the gate in New York. They have a description of both passengers. Everything is ready. Diane feels a small wave of relief, but she also feels more nervous. The plan is in motion now. There is no going back. They just need to stay calm for one more hour and make sure nothing goes wrong before landing. Diane decides to walk by row 14 one more time, very casually. She offers more drinks to passengers nearby. When she reaches the man, she smiles politely. "Anything else I can get for you before we land?" she asks. The man shakes his head. "No, we're fine, thank you," he says smoothly. He has no idea that flight attendants, the pilot, and soon the police all know something he does not want anyone to know. His confidence makes Diane feel even more determined to help this girl. The plane begins its slow descent toward New York. The captain's voice comes over the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, we will be landing in approximately 30 minutes. Please make sure your seatbelts are fastened." Diane's heart starts to race again. 30 minutes. Just 30 more minutes until they land, and then everything will change very quickly. She checks the cabin one final time, making sure everyone is buckled in safely, including the man and the girl in row 14. As the plane descends lower and lower, Diane watches the girl carefully. The girl looks out the window at the city lights below. For a brief moment, something flickers across her face. It is not just fear anymore. It looks almost like hope. Maybe somewhere deep inside, she believes that someone is finally going to help her. Diane silently promises herself that she will not let this girl down. Not now. Not when they are this close to safety. The plane lands smoothly on the runway in New York. Diane feels the wheels touch the ground, and her whole body tenses up. This is it. This is the moment everything has been building toward. The plane slowly taxis toward the gate. Passengers start checking their phones, gathering their bags, getting ready to leave. Everything looks normal from the outside, but Diane knows that this landing is different from every other landing she has experienced in her career. The captain's voice comes over the speakers one more time. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New York. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until we reach the gate and the seatbelt sign is turned off." His voice sounds completely normal, calm and professional, just like always. No one on the plane has any idea about the secret plan happening behind the scenes. No one except Diane, Maria, and the captain know what is about to happen in just a few short minutes. Diane walks slowly through the cabin, checking that everyone is following the rules. She passes row 14 one final time. The man is gathering his bag from under the seat. The girl sits very still, looking straight ahead. Diane notices the girl's hands are clenched tightly in her lap. She must be feeling so many emotions right now. Fear, hope, nervousness, maybe even disbelief that this nightmare might actually be ending soon. Diane wishes she could say something comforting, but she must stay professional and quiet. The plane finally reaches the gate and stops completely. The seatbelt sign turns off with a soft chime. Passengers immediately start standing up, reaching for their bags in the overhead bins. The cabin fills with noise and movement. But then, something unusual happens. Instead of opening the main door normally, two crew members position themselves near the front, watching carefully. Diane stands near row 14, pretending to help other passengers, but really keeping a close eye on the man and the girl. Suddenly, the aircraft door opens, and instead of just airport staff, two uniformed police officers step onto the plane. The cabin goes quiet for a moment as passengers notice them. The officers walk calmly but quickly down the aisle, heading straight toward row 14. The man's face changes instantly. His calm expression disappears, replaced by shock and confusion. "Sir, we need you to come with us," one officer says firmly. The man tries to protest, but it is far too late for excuses now. The other officer kneels down gently next to the girl. "You're safe now," the officer says softly. "We're here to help you." The girl's eyes fill with tears, but these are different tears. Not tears of fear, but tears of relief. Diane watches from a few feet away, her own eyes becoming wet as well. The man is led away by one officer, while the other stays with the girl, speaking to her gently, helping her gather her things and guiding her off the plane safely. As the man is led off the plane in handcuffs, the other passengers watch in complete silence. No one says a word. Everyone seems to understand, without being told, that something very serious just happened. Some passengers look shocked, others look confused. A few people, the ones who maybe noticed the same strange behavior Diane noticed earlier, simply nod quietly to themselves as if they always suspected something was wrong with that pair sitting in row 14. Diane finally allows herself to breathe deeply. Her hands are still trembling slightly, but now it is from relief, not fear. She watches as the second police officer gently guides the girl down the aisle toward the exit. Before leaving, the girl stops for just a moment next to Diane. She looks up at her with eyes full of emotion. "Thank you," the girl whispers. Her voice is barely audible, but Diane hears every single word clearly. "Thank you for seeing me." Those 3 simple words hit Diane harder than she expected. Thank you for seeing me. It makes Diane realize something important. Sometimes the people who need help the most are the ones who feel completely invisible. They are sitting right next to us, but no one notices them. No one asks if they are okay. Diane reaches out and gently squeezes the girl's hand. "You were so brave," Diane says softly. "I'm proud of you." The girl gives a small, watery smile before continuing down the aisle with the officer. After the girl leaves the plane, Diane stands there for a moment, processing everything that just happened. Maria comes over and wraps her arms around Diane in a tight hug. "You did it," Maria says, her voice shaking with emotion. "You actually saved her life today." Diane nods slowly, still trying to understand the full weight of what happened. It does not feel real yet. Just hours ago, this was a normal flight. Now, a young girl's entire future has been changed forever, all because Diane trusted her instincts. Later, Diane learns more details from airport security. The girl's name is Emily. She is 15 years old. She had been taken from her hometown just 2 days earlier by a man who promised her a modeling opportunity in another city. It was all lies, part of a larger trafficking operation that police had actually been investigating for several weeks. Diane's note, her small piece of paper hidden under a bathroom sink, became the missing piece of evidence that helped police finally make their move and rescue Emily before it was too late. The other passengers slowly start leaving the plane, talking quietly among themselves about what they just witnessed. Some of them stop to thank Diane personally before exiting. "You're a hero," one woman tells her, squeezing her arm gently. Diane just smiles and shakes her head humbly. "I just paid attention," she says simply. "Anyone could have done the same thing." But deep inside, Diane knows that not everyone would have noticed. Not everyone would have acted. That is what truly made the difference today. A few weeks later, Diane receives a letter at her home address. It is from Emily's family. Inside, there is a handwritten note from Emily herself. She writes about how she is doing better now. She is back home with her family. She is getting help from counselors who understand what she went through. She writes that she thinks about Diane every single day, and she will never forget the kindness of a stranger who decided to pay attention when it mattered most. Diane reads the letter 3 times before she can hold back her tears. This story teaches us something very powerful. We never know when a small action can change someone's entire life. Diane did not have proof. She did not have a perfect plan. She just had a feeling, a strong instinct that something was wrong, and she trusted that feeling enough to act on it. She took a small risk by writing that note. She could have been wrong. The situation could have been completely innocent. But she decided that being wrong was better than staying silent and possibly letting someone suffer. This is why paying attention to the people around us matters so much. We live in a busy world. We often look at our phones instead of the people sitting next to us. We assume everything is fine because that is easier than asking questions. But sometimes, just sometimes, someone right next to us is silently asking for help without using any words at all. They might be too scared to speak. They might not know how to ask. All they need is for someone to notice. All they need is for someone like Diane to truly see them. Diane still works as a flight attendant today. She still flies the same routes, serves the same drinks, and smiles at the same kinds of passengers. But something inside her changed forever after that flight. She pays even closer attention now. She trusts her instincts even more. And she has talked to many other flight attendants about what happened, teaching them to notice the small signs, the quiet signals, the silent cries for help that can sometimes save a life. What an incredible story, right? Diane's courage and attention to detail truly changed Emily's life forever. It shows us that we all have the power to make a difference, even in small, quiet moments. I really hope you enjoyed listening to this episode today and learned some new English words and expressions along the way. If you liked this podcast, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe to Ginger English so you never miss a new episode. And please share this story with a friend or family member who might enjoy it too. Thank you so much for listening today. I'm Sarah, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care and stay curious about the world around you. Bye for now.